like, who are you yelling at? She was like,
well, I'm gonna call the MPs.
Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to the Rain Fam. My name is Sierra, and instead of a vlog today, I wanted to do a sit down video and do, something in my eye, and do a story time. And this story time is gonna be about how I got the MPs called on me. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so this is how the story started. Me and Mike, this was back in 2014. Me and Mike just got married, and we moved into our first townhouse in Fort Riley, Kansas. And that was his first duty station. It was in October, and he was in the field, and I was like 2 or 3 months pregnant with Noah. His friend lived down the street from us, like on the opposite side, but like further towards the end where the stop sign was. So we were closer to the front, to one stop sign, and then he was closer to another one all the way down the street. One day, me and Mike decided to get a dog, right? Or just like look for a dog. This was before I knew I was pregnant. And we went to an animal shelter in Manhattan. We were looking at the dogs, and we saw this dog. His name was Chewie. Short for Chewie, but his name was Chewbacca, and I'll put a picture of him right here if I can find one. We got to play with him and everything like that. Mike was like, you want him? And then I thought about it, and I was like, that's a big responsibility. He's gonna be gone, and I'm gonna have to take care of the dog, and I wasn't ready for that. So I was like, let's just go to the mall and talk things over, and we'll come to a decision at the mall. So he said, okay. I went to go use the bathroom, and I come back, and his ass already filed, filled out the paperwork to get freaking Chewie. So I was like, I was so mad, but then I was like, okay, whatever. So we get the dog, right? But we didn't know that like Chewie had like really bad issues. Like I guess he came from a home that was he was abused or something. If we left him, he would bark. Like you could hear him throughout the neighborhood. That's how loud he would bark, and he would not stop until we came back. Or if we would leave him, he would poop and pee. And Chewie wasn't a puppy, he was a full-blown dog. Like every time we would leave him, he would pee or poop on the floor all the time just because we left. Or we lived in a townhouse, he would run up the stairs and he would not come back down until like every eye was off. I wasn't using the oven, nothing like that. He would not come down until I was like out of the kitchen and done. It was weird, and I felt bad for him, but he like had really bad issues. And then after that, once I found out I was pregnant and I had to deal with that, it was a lot on me because Michael wasn't home. So I was like, okay. And he was afraid of the dark. So this is where, the story happens. So Mike was gone in the field, and I was walking Chewie at night because we took him out 3 times a day. I walked him at night, and he wouldn't walk unless I had my flashlight on my phone. So when I would hold my phone out like this, and wherever he would walk, I would just have the light on it, because I didn't want him to be scared and I needed him to pee. So I told you guys we lived on this side of the stop sign. You can either make a left to go out the subdivision, like going towards the commissary, or you can go right and you can go through the rest of the subdivision. So I made a right, he stopped. I got like past the stop sign and he stopped and he peed. I still have the flashlight on him, and I don't turn the flashlight off until I get back into my house, right? So he stopped, he peed, then we walk across the street and we walk on the other side to get back to the house. Like we made like a kind of like a rectangle type thing. And this lady comes out her house and she was like,
what are you doing looking into other people's houses?
And I'm like, what? And she's like,
yeah, I saw you shine your flashlight in front of another person's house.
And I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like,
you don't need to be looking into other people's houses and blah, blah, blah.
And I was like, my flashlight was towards the ground. It wasn't towards anybody's house. And we all live in the same subdivision, so all of our houses are the same. So why do I need to look in somebody else's house? And she's like,
well, I don't give a and blah, blah, blah.
Just cussing me out. Her daughter was like, I want to say 2 or 3. Her daughter comes out the door and is standing like right there while she's cussing me out. And I'm like, wow, you're gonna cuss at me in front of your daughter? That's real classy. And she's like,
I don't give a fuck about my daughter being here. You don't need to look across the street. You don't need to look at other people's houses.
And I'm like, lady, I'm not looking at other people's houses. And back then, this was kind of like ratchet here. I kind of calmed down a little bit. Like, I wasn't that ratchet, but I kind of was. So I was getting buck with her. I was like, who the fuck are you talking to? Nobody was staring at another person's house. Like, who are you yelling at? She was like,
Well, I'm gonna call the MPs.
and then here comes, this is how I know. This was like my first run-in with a Dependa. And a Dependa is an army or a military wife that wears her husband's rank. And at that time, I think Michael was a P2 or PFC. Either way, I think her husband was a sergeant and Michael was just starting off.
He was like, do you know what rank my husband is?
I was like, I don't give a what rank your husband is. Like, that's not your rank. And she was like, well, I'm gonna call the MP. So I'm like, you call the MP. She's like, I have a witness. So she goes inside. She knew the lady that was across the street that I was walking Chewie with, that said I was looking through her house, and the door was shut, so I couldn't see anything, even if I did shine the light in it. Like her door was shut, the screen was shut, because we had like a screen, like the door, and then you open up and then there's a screen. So it wasn't like the screen was just shut and the door was open. Like, both things were shut. So how can I look into somebody's house? And I guess she called that lady, right, across the street. So she comes out her house and she was like,
yeah, I saw you looking inside my house.
and I'm like, how can you see me looking inside your house when your door is shut? You don't even know what's going on. And then she stayed outside, and then the MPs came, and she's like,
Well, you're gonna get it. My husband's a sergeant. And what rank is your husband?
I was like, it doesn't matter what rank my husband is, and it doesn't matter what rank your husband is. She was like, well, yes, it does. I can get him in trouble. I was like, well, get him in trouble then. Like, nothing's going to happen. She's like, well, I'm gonna call the MPs. And then she told me not to walk on her sidewalk. And I'm like, this sidewalk right here, I was like, this is the community sidewalk. It's not just your sidewalk. I was like, and I'm walking my dog. I'm not doing nothing wrong. And she was like, well, this is where my house is, and if I don't want you to walk on my sidewalk, I don't want you to. I was like, well, I'm gonna continue to walk on the sidewalk, and there's nothing you can do about it. So the MPs finally come, right? And she's like, well, you need to leave before the MPs come. I was like, no, if you call the MPs, I'm gonna stay right here. She's like, well, stay right there then. I was like, okay. So I stayed right here, waited for the MPs. There was like 4 MPs, like 4 cops, the cars, like 4 MP cars came. She's like telling her story, and she started crying, and I'm like, what the f is wrong with her? Like, something is mentally wrong with her. And this was my first time in this, like, I'm a new military wife, so seeing all those 4 like cops come, and I'm pregnant, and we just moved here, I was like, this is freaking insane. One of the cops comes up to me and was like, oh, what happened? So I told her what happened, and I was like, I don't talk to nobody. I'm new here. I just moved here. I'm 3 months pregnant. Like, and she's over here starting with me and coming in my face. They wrote down my information and everything like that, and then they came up with an excuse because I guess her husband was deployed and was saying that basically it's okay for her to act that way, or like don't mind her acting that way because she was missing her husband and her husband's deployed. Like, I don't give a if your husband was there with you. First of all, you don't treat nobody like that. You don't talk to nobody like that, especially me, because girl. But then I couldn't call my husband, so I had to call his friend, and he came with his wife to come and pick me up from I was literally right by my house, like 20 more steps and I would have been to my house. I just told them to come because I didn't know what the hell was gonna happen. And basically, I guess they wrote down the incident or whatever, and they said not to talk to each other. I was like, I don't even know who the she is. Like, there's no way we would be able to talk with each other. And I continued to walk our dog on the same path every single day until I guess she wasn't there anymore. I guess they moved or PCS. I'm not sure. I think they PCS because I saw a U-Haul truck. So yeah, that was the time that I got the MPs called on me. It was freaking insane. But the point was, like, I don't understand why wives feel like they feel entitled to act a certain way just because their husband is higher ranking than most people. Like, Michael's a sergeant now. There's no way I'm gonna look down on a military wife because her husband's a specialist or just started as a E1 or whatever. Like, there's no way I would do that because that doesn't make you better. And you're not the one who's working every single day to earn that rank. They are. Your spouse are, not you. So you dependents out there are a trip, because that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why? What does that do for you? You're snobby to people because your husband, not even you, your husband is a sergeant or a first sergeant. Like, who the cares? Like, if they weren't in the military, what would you do? Who the cares? There would be, I'm not saying there wouldn't be anybody, but like, goddamn, I don't get it at all. But yeah, this is gonna be the end of my little story time. I hope you guys liked it. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but if you want more story times about anything, if you just want more story times, period, let me know in the comment section below. Give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys on Thursday.